What is going on, party people in the house? It's Wednesday, the 23rd of March, or April. Sorry, man, not going back in the time machine. 23rd of April. Benji, I'm here. I was just kind of building up the suspense, man. Actually, I'll be honest with you, Benji. I was actually trying to start the show on time. My allergies were kind of acting up, so I went and took some allergy medicine. Had to blow my nose. That's what happened. Seriously, I was ready to go. Then I had one of these sneezing attacks. And I was like, damn it, man. So I was like, let me take some allergy medicine real quick, and then let me go ahead and clear myself. But I'm good now. Benji, thanks for asking. I'm here ready to talk about your Texas Longhorns as they continue to go and attack the transfer portal, doing the damn thing in the transfer portal. So we're going to talk about just kind of recapping some of those things. Good morning to your landmark, Mark, Benji, Christopher, Stephanie, of course, is here. My man Court is in the house. Just another famous reviewer. Barb's 10, Michelle, Zio _ a lot of y'all in here today. So good morning to y'all. As we continue to talk about really, we've probably got a good, I would say, probably a good couple more days of talk about the transfer portal. The deadline for people to enter their name into the transfer portal will be this Friday. So don't think that's the deadline to do transfer portal acquisitions. It's the deadline to get your name into the transfer portal. Once your name is in the portal, you can sign whenever you want to. Think of Velton Gardner last year. He put his name in the portal and he sat there up until Texas called him in August. Is like, hey man, we need some help. Good morning. Is it a Yaggity? Yaggity. I like that. That's kind of cool. So anyway, so Friday will be the deadline to put their name in. And I would just say at that point, all the heavy lifting's probably done. And I wouldn't expect that all of a sudden 2 weeks from now that Texas signs somebody that's out the portal. Texas has been moving pretty quickly when guys go in the portal, right? If you look at what they've been doing in this spring, everything has been guy goes in, and usually within a couple of days, they're on campus. And then, they either sign with Texas or they go elsewhere. So what I'm saying is, let's say somebody of a superstar puts his name in on a Friday, right? Which, by the way, if I'm Texas in any other school, what I really would prefer is that you put your name in on a Thursday or Friday, as opposed to putting your name in early and then I'm having to fight for you, right? But nonetheless, I think Texas only has like another scholarship or so left. We'll see if anybody else on their end goes into the portal today or throughout this week. But for the most part, a lot of the heavy lifting is done. Like I said, I think we'll see. Maybe we'll see something. My intuition of the things that I was told before we got started in the transfer portal, I still wouldn't be surprised. And I'm just waiting to see if there's another standout receiver that goes into the portal. I feel like if there's another standout receiver who goes into the portal, that's the thing that Texas would jump on. I feel like that's what they're waiting to see. Can they add in one more body to go with EMTT Mosley? But as I was thinking about Texas, I was thinking about Sark. I was thinking about the show this morning. I had to do a show actually out in Memphis at 8:00. It's tough, man. It's tough when you got kids, man, and you trying to get one kid ready for elementary school, do a show, and then get your other kid ready for middle school. It is not easy. Then do your show. I mean, I'm just trying to make it through at this moment. I was thinking about this all ties into about Sark's evolution and what we've been able to see from him in real time as a coach, especially as relates to the transfer portal and kind of what he's been able to do there. And I was thinking about other sports where we've kind of seen some evolutions, right? And I grew up in 80s and 90s, I was a huge NBA fan, right? Probably like a lot of y'all were huge NBA fan. And back then, when you had 7-footers, all those guys were just down low players, right? They would just get them in the post, do your moves, and that was it. That's what 7-footers were when we grew up. Like that, you put your tallest guys down low, and you kind of work it from there. And you saw the game kind of change. You saw the game evolve. Where nowadays 7-footers, they can do it all, right? A 7-footer can absolutely do it all nowadays, right? So there's a little bit of a difference there. And then, the 3-point line. When you think about when we watch basketball, really wasn't what it is now, right? Like the 3-point line is something that's really has evolved, because now it's the weapon that people use, and hell, it's the thing that people shoot the most. Hell, you go out to any AAU basketball game, like ask Mike Harges if he's out here. Like you go to any AAU basketball game over the weekend, and all you're gonna do is just see kids jacking up threes. These kids don't even try to go down the post. I don't know if they got a post move. They all they want to do is jack up a three and do this, right? And then when we watch football too, when we was watching and we've been able to watch football really evolve in real time, right? I remember just you grow up as a football fan, it was all about the run game. It was run, and the pass game was like a luxury, right? The pass game, like, do you got to think, like the Baltimore Ravens won the Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer as their quarterback. No disrespect to Trent Dilfer, but none of us ever considered Trent Dilfer to be an elite quarterback. But you had defense and you had a run game, and that was really all you needed. Like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won a Super Bowl with Brad Johnson as their quarterback. And they had Michael Pittman, and they were able to have a really solid run game, and then of course a good defense, right? You could go through the list of all the teams that won with a kind of an average quarterback, but strong run game and a good defense. And now, I mean, defense is cool, and defense still wins championships. But if you ain't got to pass a game, you ain't got a chance. Look at all the service academies. You remember we grew up and you watch those service academies, and they running like wing tees, triple options, all that kind of crazy stuff. And now the service academies, they air it out. They're like, man, we got to pass this damn ball, man. We got it. This is what we got to do, right? So now all of a sudden, the service academies learn how to evolve. And so I give Sark a lot of credit, because when the portal kind of started and the portal became a thing, Sark kind of took it's cool, but I'm not going to be able to be tripping over the portal, right? When I started thinking about Sark, so I went back and I'm looking at 2021, and he gets 6 guys in the portal, right? Those guys are Keelan Robinson, Devin Richardson, Ben Davis, Ray Thornton, Ovia Gofu, Darian Dunn. And when it was all said and done, Keelan Robinson ends up being the most successful of the bunch, and it ends up being more successful just because he ends up being, an NFL draft pick. Devin Richardson was a guy that comes in from a smaller university, and you're thinking, maybe that's going to translate at Texas. It never did. Ben Davis was a former 5-star. They thought, okay, maybe after 4 years at Alabama, maybe he could do something here, right? That didn't happen. Ray Thornton was productive at LSU and didn't really do much here. He was played, but it was like, and Ovia Gofu was solid at Notre Dame. And then Darian Dunn, everyone thought, now that's going to be that thing. And nothing really happened with them. And so it was really kind of a soft approach to just saying, you know what, let me see if I can just get some guys in, get some backups. If they hit, great, but I'm not really tripping on the transfer portal. And Sark's kind of thing was, hey, at the end of the day, I'm just going to grow my program through high school recruiting. That's how we're going to do. Just high school recruiting, that's the most important thing. And look, I think we all kind of respected that at the time. And I think a lot of people who wrote, who ride with Sark were like, yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. Like, yeah, high school recruiting, and you got to be able to do that. And it's the danger in life, right? The danger in life is when you make it into something that has to be an either or, as opposed to saying I can do both. Right? It's the thing is it's like when you get into sometimes these conversations with your friends, and let's say it's like a political conversation, right? And you feel one way, the other person feels another way, and it's just like it's an either or. And it's like, well, but you can make sense, and I can make sense, right? It's the whole thing, which is two things can be true. And so two things can be true, right? Which is, yeah, you want to build through high school recruiting, but you can make the transfer portal into a weapon for you, right? But nonetheless, I don't think Sark was at that point yet, right? So we go into 2022, and you start to see a little portion of it, a little bit, right? Because Quentin Ewers comes here through the transfer portal. So you got to acknowledge, like, okay, he realized, okay, I can get a quarterback through the transfer portal. But then there was Diamante Tucker Dorsey, who was at another pro, was it New Mexico State, something like that, and then comes here again. You kind of hoping that maybe that kind of pans out, and then Jai Hall. No need to relive that. Then there's Jaleel Billingsley, again another Alabama guy. There was Isaiah Nayer, who could have been something, probably maybe without the injuries. You have Tariq Milton from Iowa State. You're just guessing that maybe this thing could kind of work. And then the other guy that you kind of hit on from that class is like Ryan Watts. So at least Ryan Watts comes here and he's a starter. Quentin Ewers comes here, he's a starter, and everybody else, at the end of the day, it's just a shoulder shrug, right? Nothing that you would say, man, that was worth it, right? That did, so you don't get that, right? And then he gets a little bit of a taste of it, and I think this ends up really being kind of a difference for him when he gets Adonai Mitchell in the transfer portal in 2023. I think the light bulb goes off for Sark. I think that at that point, he says, wait a second. I could get a guy who's actually a game changer. Thank you, James Madison. Appreciate you. Just another favor. Wait, I can get a guy who's actually a game changer in the portal, as opposed to just putting in guys and seeing what happens. He gets Ryan Sanborn, who, boy, you never know you need a punter until you got one, right? And then he brings in, he's got Trill Carter, who helps out a little bit, right? He's got Jalen Catalon, in there a little bit. He's got a Gavin Holmes. But then I think the Adonai Mitchell thing ends up being the thing. And then from that point, we go into last season, 2024, and Sark's like, okay, hold on. We can get top recruits out of high school, but wait a second. Why don't I just get a bunch of dudes who check the boxes and we can build a championship roster? So what does he do? He gets Andrew Makuba, stud. He gets Trey Moore, stud. He gets Matthew Golden, who may be the number one receiver taken in the draft tomorrow, right? He gets Silas Bolden, so he gets a returner. Gets Kendrick Blackshire, nothing really to write home about. Then he gets Isaiah Bond, again a stud. Then he gets Amari Nyblack, nothing to write home about. He gets Savea. He gets Bill Norton. He gets Jermaine Lole. He gets Javion Cole, which was a little bit kind of like the last, like, let's see what happens kind of thing. But they were stacked at the DB room, so it doesn't matter that he didn't hit. And then they bring in Velton Gardner. But now we're talking about Trey Moore, Makuba, Matthew Golden, right? You talk about Isaiah Bond, you got Savea, Norton, Lole. Like all of a sudden, Sark's like, man, the hell with this. We could just go ahead and build championships, man. What are we doing? and that's why I think that there became a shift, which is why I give him so much credit. Because it would have been easy just to stick with the, man, we're just going to build through high schools and kind of go through there. No, man. He's like, man, let's go look for talent. We need to recruit talent, but let's go ahead and look for it. Now, you look at 2025, and Sark ends up with what? He ends up with the #1 recruiting class in the country. But then two things can be true. But he's also like, man, I may have the #1 recruiting class in the country, but is that enough? Like, that's cool on that end, but I think I can go ahead and do some other things as well, right? So then he just goes and says, so this is what it looks like so far from a transfer portal perspective. Sorry, I had to turn the thing off, man. My allergies were all kicking my ears. All right, so then from a transfer portal perspective, Sark's like, man, let me see what I can go ahead and get this year. So now, so far, he has acquired Cole Brevard, the defensive lineman, defensive tackle from Purdue. He's got Jack Bomeister from Utah that could end up being his starting punter. You got Travis Shaw, the defensive lineman interior from UNC. You got the linebacker Brad Spence, who Sark has said is having a good camp, and all accounts is that he's been playing really well. They bring in Hero Kanu out of Ohio State as a defensive lineman, interior guy. So you see what that is. You see Emmett Mosley, obviously from Stanford. You see Mason Shipley, the kicker from Texas State, Levon Johnson. You got Jack Endries from Purdue, and you got Murad Watson out of Syracuse. And so you see the evolution in real time, what Sark started with, where he was kind of like playing around with the transfer portal, kind of playing little footsies with the transfer portal, kind of like, we'll see what happens with the transfer portal. It's okay. I'm going to do a little something. I don't necessarily need to do all that. To now, you see the evolution in real time where he's saying, I mean, my man's got, with the addition of Watson, 5 interior offensive linemen through the transfer portal. And of that, and let me go and look this up real quick. Of that number, I think 3 were ranked as the best interior offensive lineman, defensive lineman, rather. I keep saying offensive lineman. I apologize. Interior defensive lineman through the transfer portal rankings through Rivals. They had Murad Watson from Syracuse at the #2 spot. They had Cole Brevard ranked as the #4 defensive lineman. And then they've also had Travis Shaw ranked at #7. So Sark, through the transfer portal, was able to bring in 3 of the top 7 defensive tackles in the transfer rankings. 3 of the 7. You see what I say about the evolution where, man, you know what? We ain't playing around. This thing, when he went from, hey, man, cool, to like, what we doing? Because now when you get Watson, and he's a guy who has 10 quarterback pressures last season, has a sack last season, 3 batted passes, and he was a freshman. And you telling yourself, wait, you got multiple years with that guy that you can develop and then bring him in with other things, and we haven't even gotten, you know me and my English, we have not even gotten into like the Justice Terrys of the world from the high school ranks and what that's going to look like for him. And so there is this evolution of Sark where you see him in the portal, and with this whole thought process of, man, this portal thing is what's going to get us from semifinals contenders to trying to win it all to win a national championship. And you also are able to see that Sark as a guy who likes to wear many hats. He's also a guy that says, you know what? I'm also going to place my faith and trust in somebody that kind of is outside of my coaching staff, right? And you know, we've joked like if there was a boat and and there was people who needed to survive from the, I know Jeff Banks would be on Sark's boat. I think the linebackers coach would be on Sark's boat. I don't know who else, right? But now it looks like Brandon Harris is on that boat. And Brandon Harris has been a guy that, when we talk about the evolution of Sark in real time, and I give him absolute credit. There's so many coaches that are so stubborn with their whole thought processes and my schemes and my all these kind of things. And they're so stubborn with everything that their programs never grow and get better and develop, right? And you're able to have, the trust in a guy, let's say like a Brandon Harris. And Brandon Harris, if we're just being honest here, when we have these conversations, it's Sark is not sitting up at night always watching random films of Texas State, Syracuse, Purdue, go down the list, right? How the process works is that Brandon Harris and his staff, they start doing they do the scouting. And then they present the guys who they believe not only fit Texas, fit the system, fit the schemes, fit everything, but gives everything that Sark would want, right? But then there's another component, which means are they obtainable as well? Because right, anybody can go in the transfer portal. Can you get them? And are they worth whatever they say they are worth? And so you got to be able to have somebody that you can lean on. This is why I don't want to do this today. This is why I want to do this today. But I'll do it just a little. I'm going to do it just a little bit because I'm a big believer in keep that energy. I'm a big believer in keep that same energy. I'm just a huge believer in that. If you don't like me, and if you say something in the comments, I don't like you, then when you see me, just keep it moving, right? Keep it moving. If you like me, same thing. Like, hey, you like me? Cool. Like, say hello, whatever, right? And so for people who are really critical of Brandon Harris and really thought to themselves, oh man, these other programs have gained the advantage because they've hired, these bigger name guys, at Oklahoma, at North Carolina, at Cal, right? Oh, they've hired all these bigger name guys. All I see is your GM stacking talent for a team that's about to make a national championship run. I don't really see it at all those other programs. Sorry. And here's the thing. If Texas wasn't doing it, I sure know the critics would be out there talking about the job that Brandon Harris isn't doing. So let's not shy away. When the job's getting done. Let's not get quieter than a church mouse when all of a sudden it's getting done. Just say it. Keep that same energy. any case, that's all I'm going to say on that today. I'll do that another day. As I do a little bit now. And so Sark's able to then trust somebody that he can lean on, depend on, and say, hey, this is my right-hand man. And when I ever talk to people behind the scenes, they say, okay, that's his right-hand man, right? That's the person that he leans on for all these things, right? So there was a conversation that we had with Sark yesterday. By the way, let me make sure I had the thing on the screen. I just want to make sure no super chats came in. I don't want anybody to feel like they're getting jacked today. All right, no. Okay, good. No super chats that came in today. So, all right, cool. Sometimes I put something on the screen, I don't see the chats, so then I have to come back to it. So I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I don't want nobody to feel like, damn, they got me jacked up today. That's not good. So there was a conversation yesterday as we talked about the transfer portal. We talked, and there's a clip that I want you guys to hear as relates to it. There was the conversation about the acquisition of Mosley and the acquisition of Endries. And then I was able to ask him a little bit of a question about Brandon Harris. And there was a follow-up question that was related to Brandon Harris as well. I thought it was really good. Sark talked for about 30 minutes. Some of you may not just have a chance to say, what I'm going to do today? I'm going to listen to 30 minutes of Sark. You're like, all right, give me the highlights on Twitter. I'll check it out on Onward Show. So let me go ahead and get you guys this, because I think this is a really good clips for you guys to hear. Let's get into a little bit of Sark.
Portal guys, Emmett Mosley, Jack Endries.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize, Chip. Emmett Mosley is a guy that we were recruiting hard going into his senior season. He was high on our board. We had high hopes for him. We had a great relationship with he and his family. He ended up injuring his knee before his senior season, and we kind of backed off of it. To his credit, man, he worked his tail off, got himself healthy, and had a really, really solid freshman year there at Stanford. And so when they made the coaching change and he decided to go in the portal, we just felt like he was a really natural fit. He's got experience, but yet as a younger player to fill the void in that room. He's got a really good head on his shoulders, great character, great work ethic. So we're excited about him. Jack is a guy, we were really looking for a tight end that could be an every down player, a guy that could be an inline blocker, could be a guy that was utilized, split out, that ran a multitude of routes, that had the speed to separate, to create explosive plays. And when you watch his tape at Cal, he played for 3 different coordinators in 3 years there. So he was used in a lot of different ways. And you really put the tape together over 3 years, he kind of fits all the things we ask of a tight end to do here. And I felt like we needed a veteran presence in that room. It's a young room. It's a talented room. And so to have kind of a veteran in that room for the Spencer Shannons, the Amari Winstons, those types of guys, the Jordan Washingtons to look to of what it looks like. Because all those young guys are going to play for us. I think that Spencer in line has been a really good asset for us. Amari Winston's had a fantastic spring. We see his playmaking ability. It's unfortunate we lost Jordan early in spring, but we all know we have high hopes for him. I just think that Jack is a nice addition for those guys to look to about being versatile. The more you can do in our system, the better served you are at tight end.
Coach,
So that gives you a little bit of an idea of the guys who they have coming in. And top, I see what you said in the comments. We'll get into that a little in a little bit. And so there is a Brandon Harris conversation that was had, and so we're going to talk about how Sark kind of views Harris and the role itself.
Here at Texas, this speaks a busy week for you as well. You seem to have a lot of faith in Brandon Harris. Can you just maybe talk a little bit about the job he does for you behind the scenes, the tasks that you entrust him in, and kind of what he means for you in the organization?
Yeah, Brandon's been a guy that, when we came on here 4.5 years ago, was really in kind of a grunt role, you know, and his name wasn't in the news, you know, he wasn't making a whole lot of money. And over time, like most people in our organization, you earn trust, right? And you earn trust by doing your job really well. And in his time here, he's kind of grown in the organization with more and more responsibilities. I've got a lot of faith in Brandon that he's going to execute his job really well. You know, and that's try to what I do when we assemble the staff is put people in position to do their job really well, and then help them do their job really well. And so, you know, I love to recruit. I love building our roster. This is something that I take a lot of pride in. I think Brandon and I are aligned really well on the vision for what we want our roster to look like, and numbers at certain position and body types and character and all those things. And he's got a great team. John Michael Jones is another guy who's kind of grown in our program that way. And so I trust those guys to assemble things to put in front of me that we can make really good decisions on the people we bring into our program, whether they're high school, whether they're college, transfer portal guys, you know, whether it's how we execute our publicity rights and sharing that with our players and balancing our roster and balancing our books, because that's all part of what we do now. And so, but Brandon's a very bright young guy. He's got a bright future, but he does a really good job for us.
Steve, along the lines of Brandon, you know, with what's going on at Cal and Stanford, Andrew Luck and Ron Rivera, there's no way that there's going to be a change in the power structure here. I mean, you're still going to be the top decision maker.
Not as long as I'm the head coach.
Right. That's what I'm asking. That may be a shift.
By the way, what the reporter is referring to there is that at some programs, the GM is kind of the more powerful person than, let's say, the head coach. Like, so it's different power structures. So when Sark's referring to, the question comes up with that. By the way, I just noticed something. Why don't I just take this thing down? Damn. Okay, that makes it easy for y'all to see Sark's face. Like, damn, I just noticed that. Anyway, my bad, dog. So anyway, he was just kind of explaining the power structure. And now he's going to kind of get into why, at the end of the day, he's going to be the guy that makes the call.
Shift at other schools,
so we'll go from
there. Not even going to be contemplated here, correct?
Well, I think like anything, you know, look at the 32 organizations in the NFL. Not all of them are structured the same, right? They're all structured differently. You know, who's got final say, who's in charge, what is the dynamic of the program, what does it look like? You know, like I said, I've been fortunate to work for two really good men that worked in the NFL and in college football, and Pete Carroll and Nick Saban. And, you know, I studied under those guys. I looked at the way they managed their time. I looked at how they distributed responsibilities. But at the end of the day, they were the one making those choices and decisions. You know, I know this much. When we lose Saturday, I'm the one that sits in front of you guys and have to answer those questions. When we win, I have to sit in front of you and answer those questions. And so surely I'm going to make the decisions that try to put us in the best position to be successful. But I'm also going to try to surround myself with really quality people, whether that's in the recruiting and scouting department, whether that's coaches, whether that's play callers, whether it's all those people are fundraisers. Because we've got a really good team, and it takes a great team to execute at this level the way that we have been. But ultimately, I've either got to make the decision or I've got to okay these decisions because I'm the one that's ultimately responsible for them. And so I try to look at it from that frame.
That perspective, I think is what he was trying to say. Real quick, let me get right. Longhorn Football Edits drops $2 in it to say, hey man, I'll throw in a super chat. We appreciate you. Oh, thank you, Longhorn Football Edits. I appreciate you too. Thank you for throwing in two bones for a super chat. I appreciate it. That'll get me halfway to a taco at Taco Palenque. That'll get me halfway there, right? That'll get me halfway there. All right, let me go back to my man Top. My man Top. Where are we at? Top. Top. Where is it? I highlighted it. I pinned it, so I'm gonna make sure I go to it. Okay, gotcha. Here you go. Top said, "Hey, that's how you talk to Hooks." He's talking about Margin Hooks, who I consider to be one of the best traders in the country, wide receiver traders in the country. He goes, "Ask him why Evan Stewart isn't here." Good question, right? Good observation. So here's what I would say to this, Coach Top. And Top, I believe we follow each other on Twitter, so you can DM me after the show. Here's how I take that, Top. So for those who are kind of unfamiliar, yeah, we'll really pull back the curtain here, right? There's a story that says that goes that maybe without getting into details, that Brandon Harris made a comment at one point during the recruitment of Evan Stewart that Evan Stewart kind of didn't like, kind of maybe like a little bit of a challenging of some sorts, of challenging of, do you want to come here, be a big dog? It was something to that effect, right? And something to that effect. It's not specific. I'm paraphrasing. Something to that effect. Evan Stewart didn't like it. Kind of it was like, nah, I'm not feeling it. But how I take that, Top, though. You ever like start dating somebody and they just do something little, but you kind of don't really want to be with them anyway? So they can do something just like little, right? And then at that point, you're like, man, I don't want to date her no more. Why? Man, she chewed her mouth open, dog. She breathes through both her nostrils. She breathes hard, right? Like you can find anything, right? You can find anything. Y'all see that stuff on like Instagram now, where they show like people like they're dating things. And like how their dating tolerance has now become like shorter. And so it's like these like little things that like you'll walk into someone's house and then you hear the smoke detector and then they just walk right out. I kind of just took it as the way I took it as, Top, is that I don't think Evan really wanted to come to Texas. So I took it as, man, like something was said. But it kind of becomes a thing that you use as the reason to justify why you don't want to do something. It's like sometimes you look for something little to justify it. And here's the reason why, Top. I'll say it because since Evan, Texas has still recruited the receiver position really well. And I know you mentioned Hooks, right? But, Dalen McCutcheon is trained by Hooks as well. And he came here, right? So now, where I hear Top more so than anything else is when it comes to the negotiation standpoints. Then people now that's why I hear it, right? That's why I hear like this son of a. But also understand like there's a part of I think South End Zone Queen said it best. When she said, by the way, Tex Blonde says, that's my problem. I've been single for 10 years. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes you just see somebody, you just find the littlest things. You're like, man, I ain't messing with this person. I am not messing with this person. Like, and you literally find just something that's just so small and minute. And they like, did you see? Like he had hair in his ear. Like ladies be like, he had hair in his ear. I can't talk to a person who got hair in his ear. Did you see? I mean, it just kind of is. But I think Evan Stewart did want to come to Texas, and I think that ended up being it. And Top, you went back to what I really was trying to say too. I think that Brandon's okay with being the bad cop. South End Zone Queen mentioned it a little earlier, and it's true. He's okay with being bad cop. Like he's all right. He's okay with just being disliked. It's okay. Some people like to be liked. Chris Del Conte, he wants to be liked. He wants to be liked. And then it's like, people don't like me, whatever. I'm okay with people saying these bad things about me. So, in any case, nonetheless, if we just look at results, and the results are Texas is acquiring talent. Texas is gaining more players than they're losing, right, Top? And at the end of the day, you still got to give the man some credit for what they're able to do and how they're able to do it. So it's okay. It's okay. If Top says Sark wants to be liked, I definitely think to a certain degree Sark definitely wants to be liked, right? I think Sark's guarded in many ways, but I do think I think all of us want to be liked to a certain degree, right? But I think he's guarded, but yeah, I think we all, I mean, shit, I want to be liked. You know what I'm saying? I want people to be like, man, I really don't care about nobody. Like, I mean, I'm not going to lose sleep if someone doesn't like me. I mean, I hit the mute button. Well, I hit that mute button on X. People think they talking to me. People think they talking trash to me. They have no clue that they're not talking to me. That I will see sometimes I'll post something on X and they'll say like this comment by somebody that you muted, because I don't block people. I don't give people the satisfaction of knowing they blocked. What you're not gonna do is have a screenshot that's like, or block me. You won't get that. They won't get that out of me. They get a mute, and they just get to talk to themselves. And I do that all the time. I mute so many people. I don't care. I don't know if Harris does that or not. I want to make sure I'll put this out here for y'all too, though. It's kind of off topic, but we'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow. For those of y'all, like I know South End Zone Queen, who likes to go to the playoff games. CFP, by the way, yesterday, if y'all missed it, because I know you guys were busy, I don't know, living your life, working, having kids, ghosting people on Tinder or Bumble or whatever the hell everybody's on nowadays. Whatever Catherine is getting pissed off about. They came out with the schedule. And so as you can see, if you want to start thinking ahead, Cotton Bowl is going to be on the 31st. So that's going to be kind of the earliest of the playoff quarterfinals. Then we're going to get into the Orange Bowl at noon. The Rose Bowl gets moved up a little bit. So that's at 4:00. And then the Sugar Bowl will be at 8 p.m. I don't know. Do y'all got a preference? Y'all got a preference over Cotton Bowl versus Sugar Bowl? Part of me, if given the opportunity to decide, I think I much rather have the Sugar Bowl, because then at least on the 31st you can kind of go out and do something. Kind of on the Cotton Bowl, the 31st, you're pretty much at the game, and then you just kind of step outside to look for fireworks somewhere. I know. It's like first world problems when it's the things that we're complaining about. But anyway, if I had a choice, Cotton Bowl's a good situation as well. Require less travel. Sugar Bowl, man, I don't know. Then again, I don't know if I want to be down in New Orleans on New Year's Eve. I don't know. Like last time we were there, I went and hung out the night before. Hung out actually with South Enzo Queen. But don't calm down. I was with my girl. She was with her significant other. So, but we were just at an event, like kind of at a party. So anyway, Sugar Bowl might be a something. Then you look at the following week. So this playoff semifinals, as you guys can see, January 8th, January 9th. If all goes well, Texas is in the Peach Bowl, so we're back in the ATL, which is obviously always a fun spot. And then, I mean, that's where we really trying to be. It's January 19th down in Miami. Miami in January. Oh, let that be. Let that be. We gonna be out in South Beach. We gonna be out all night long. I'm lying, y'all. I'm so old. I can't be out that league. I'm too old for all that. But you know what? The club's still open up at like 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'll meet y'all out in the morning time at 8 a.m. and we can go to a club. I'll be ready to go. That's the playoff schedule. If I was you right now, I would start just start making reservations at different spots while it's cheap before they jack up the prices. And then all of a sudden you're trying to figure out, oh man, especially New Orleans. New Orleans, y'all know, you go out to New Orleans, they definitely jack it up. If I was you, I would just start making hotel reservations that could be canceled, at 48 hours ahead of time. Go ahead and do that as well. So I want to make sure y'all got a little bit of a glimpse of that as well. The recruiting show's coming up soon. So apparently I got to get out of here so they can get up and kind of set up this stuff. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's the NFL draft, y'all. Tomorrow's the NFL draft. And so it'll be interesting. We're going to have a lot of conversations about the draft. And, we'll see, Kelvin Banks and Jahdae Barrett on day one. I can think that kind of becomes our expectations, probably the right expectations. But then after that, we just got to see where everyone else falls. And of course, there's going to be the Quinn Ewers conversation that we're going to have. And there's also the interesting Shedeur Sanders conversation that's being had as well, because Shedeur is being a guy that scouts, if what we're hearing is true, and there may be some BS associated with it because there's a lot of gamemanship that's going on, scouts is kind of talking a little bit of a trash about Shedeur. So will Shedeur be a first rounder, or will he slip into the second or so? I'm fascinated on that one. So we're going to have that conversation as well. So tomorrow we'll have an NFL draft, a Longhorn draft conversation as well. And I think I got player interviews as well tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a busy day for me. So anyway, I kind of just want to sit around and just kind of shoot the crap with you guys for about an hour. I'm actually in a talkative mood where I don't feel like getting off the show, but apparently I need to, so whatever. Recruiting Show, Jason Sukamel, Chad Hastings, those guys are next. Y'all get ready for that. I'll be back tomorrow. Remember, I always say, leave it stay like it was your last one. Day will be. Go out and do something special for yourself today. You absolutely deserve it. Treat yourself to lunch. Buy yourself some flowers. Get on Just Another Fragrance Reviewers channel. Treat yourself to a nice cologne. You know what I'm saying? Just do something for yourself. Don't be waiting around for somebody. People out here ain't worth a damn. You go and do something for yourself.